on Newspoint. A Carmel doctor dies after testing positive for COVID-19. She posted videos during her treatment, and in them, Dr. Susan Moore said she wasn't given the proper care at IU Health North because she was Black. Tonight, the hospital has announced it will launch an external review of how staff handled her case.
You have to show proof that you have something wrong with you in order for you to get the medicine.
Dr. Susan Moore first posted this in late November after testing positive for COVID-19. Her son says she spent 8 days at IU Health North. In her Facebook post, Dr. Moore says at one point the hospital tried to discharge her.
He says, you don't need it. You're not even short of breath. I said, yes, I am.
She begged for more testing and realized she was getting worse. We learned the doctor got better and she was sent home. 12 hours later, according to Dr. Moore's post, she was back in the hospital, this time at another location. Her son tells us she died Sunday and her cause of death was pneumonia with possible bacterial pneumonia. When describing her time at IU North, Dr. Moore said this.
I put forward and I maintain if I was white, I wouldn't have to go through that.
She did not cite specific behavior. A friend of Dr. Moore spoke with us saying the doctor suffered from an inflammatory disease. She told Fox 59 it hurt watching what Dr. Moore described in her video.
Being a person of color as well, like, oh my gosh, if she, being a doctor and being knowledgeable of the system, can't get the care that she needs, that's disheartening for others.
And so her friend and Sora wanted this story out there. Now, in a statement, IU Health president and CEO said he didn't think the hospital failed in the technical aspects of Dr. Moore's care, but, quote, I am concerned, however, that we may not have shown the level of compassion and respect we strive for in understanding what matters most to patients. Again, that is why he is ordering an external review of the care for Dr. Moore. We'll continue to stay on top of this story and bring you the latest as we learn of new developments.
Okay, so y'all just heard that news clip right there. And this is a story that has been floating around social media for the most part for a few days now. A lot of my subscribers have been sending me emails or sending me DMs asking me, am I going to talk about this and everything like that? And listen, this story lines up with a lot of stories historically when it comes to Black people and the lack of care that they receive when it comes to health care and hospital care and any type of care when it comes to dealing with our bodies. And I'm not shocked nor am I surprised, but I am saddened by this entire situation, especially since this woman was indeed a doctor herself. But that just shows you right there, it doesn't matter what your profession is. If they can see one thing when they look at you, then that's all that will be needed. Now, you heard what she said in the video when they basically tried to tell her that she wasn't experiencing shortness of breath. I'm sitting there like, how are you going to blatantly tell this woman what she is or she's not feeling when clearly she was hooked up to a machine with tubes up her nose and could barely get her words out? Now, I didn't want to put up the imagery or the picture of her laying in the bed because I feel like that one's been overused. So I wanted to use a nicer looking picture of this woman at a more happier point in her life, which is this one right here. It's crazy because they made it seem like nothing was wrong with her. She got discharged from that hospital and was back in another hospital 12 hours later, not 12 days later, but 12 hours, literally within a 24-hour time period of her being released or discharged from the previous hospital. They better do a thorough review and investigation of that entire situation. And you heard the little thing that the CEO has said toward the end, that they said that they didn't feel like I can't get my words out, that they didn't do anything wrong, but however, they feel like there could have been a more level of compassion there when it came to dealing with the care of this patient. It's almost like you're doing double talk. It's almost like you're not sorry for what you did, but you're also sorry for what you did or what you didn't do. So which is it? But like I said, this has a historical context around it, where Black people do not get the best health care or the best care when it comes to illnesses or sickness or diseases. I mean, these are the same people that put out there that we get, or we're most likely to get COVID-19 opposed to other groups. Although many stats have been coming out lately saying how shaky that is. And I bet you there's many more people out there like this woman right here, who probably unfortunately weren't able to tell their stories. And I wouldn't be surprised nor shocked if they don't go far with this investigation or this review. I wouldn't be. Because in their eyes, why would they? They just feel like, oh, she's another person who was grasping for straws. She just had to bring race into it. Race had nothing to do with this. It's just that she was sick. Maybe her saying that she wasn't in her right state of mind, and that was the first thing that came out of her mouth. That's probably what they're saying right now. Oh, trust and believe, they gonna cover their tracks when it comes to this story. They not gonna try to dwell on this one for too long. That's why it's up to people like us to keep this story out there for as long as we possibly can. Just like the story that I'm covering right now with Kawan Charles. I feel like I have to make sure I keep that story alive, because if I don't, it'll die. That story will fade into obscurity. And then they say when she passed, they said she had pneumonia and also complications, due to the virus. Now I'm gonna read some of what this article says. I'm probably not gonna read the entire thing, but just a little bit. It says, struggling to breathe and pausing between sentences, Susan Moore mustered enough energy to record herself from her hospital bed where she was being treated for the virus, for COVID-19 caused by the virus. The message she shared, not even her status as a doctor, shielded her from the inferior medical care long endured by other African Americans. She just basically admitted to the world that even though she's a doctor, and she has that title of doctor, that didn't even help her get the proper care that she felt she deserved. That's a very heavy and potent statement she made. Her white doctor didn't believe she was short of breath, she said, even though he knew he was treating a fellow licensed physician. Staff at the hospital near Indianapolis attempted to discharge her early, Moore said, and her pleas for medication to quiet the pain in her neck was met with sneers, she said. I was crushed. He made me feel like a drug addict, and he knew I was a physician. I don't take narcotics, Moore recalled in a December 4th video viewed by millions. I put forward and I maintain, if I was white, I wouldn't have to go through it. And it just goes on to say that she died this past week. And after all of that, they probably, like I said, they're most likely going to dismiss it. They don't want to dwell on this. This is a PR nightmare for them. So they're going to do their best to try to cover their tracks. But like I said, historically, this has been happening to black people. Young, old, rich, poor, so on and so on. And like I said, I bet you there's many others out there like her who are in the same position and probably have a bigger status than her. And she couldn't even get good health care or the proper treatment. And she was a doctor, but they didn't see a doctor that day. Remember what I said about them saying that black people feel no pain? And the fact that the doctor said, oh, she has no shortness of breath? It reminds you of the whole no feeling of pain. They just dismissed her claims. Didn't even try to attempt to see if what she was saying was valid, even though it was. And then discharged her. Like they were just, it's almost like they just threw her back out onto the street as if she had no insurance. And only to end up back in the hospital in another one 12 hours later. Like, let that sink in. They knew this woman was sick. They probably thought she was playing. I don't know why or how you would think that, but okay. And you wonder why I say I feel nothing. But I do offer my condolences to this woman's family. I think they mentioned she had a son. Offer my condolences to him and anybody who knew her. As for that hospital, they better lawyer up. And I'm not talking about the hospital. I'm talking about her family, because we already know that the hospital got lawyers on deck. With that being said, I'm gonna end the video right here. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you have that bell clicked and have your notifications turned on to all, and I will talk to you in the next one.